Yeah, good. Okay. All right. So, welcome everyone. It's always a pleasure to welcome you to our monthly Gut Rules Masterclass. And we do this masterclass no matter how big or how small. And we were thinking that it might be a very small group tonight. So it's going to be a small, intimate gathering, but I think we will continue because other people may join us. So welcome to those of you who are here. And I have a few housekeeping things that I would like to say. And I would also like to introduce Russell, whom you all know. Russell and I are co-founders of the Center for Functional Nutrition. And I do remember the day that we stood in front of our house and said, okay, this is it. It was in 1999. And we went through all the processes and we founded the Center for Functional Nutrition. So here we are years later. Russell is a wonderful man. He's my husband and he is also my business partner. And he's going to lead us tonight in the Gut Rules Masterclass. And I'll leave it up to him to introduce it. We will be missing Brian, Mary Annie, tonight, our son, who usually does the hosting, which is what I'm doing tonight. I'll just go ahead with a couple of housekeeping things, and then Russell, you can take it away. So the master class
Okay,
is
okie
usually
doke.
60 minutes or less, depending on the Q&A. And if you have a question for Russell, please put it into the chat and then I will ask Russell the questions. It's just easier to manage that way. And this is recording. We are recording this, and so the recording will be sent out on Friday, this coming Friday morning. You will all get the recording. And I will put a couple of links in the chat. One is for our first step conversation with Russell. The other one is for the free ebook. And also, we're always looking for reviews. So if you feel like it, please click on that link and you can leave us a review. Um, this um, the purpose of this master class is educational. We're not offering medical advice, and I do stress that this is purely educational, this master class. So, Russell, I'm intrigued. A Midsummer Night's Dream. I do remember a Midsummer Night's Dream. And I do remember the night that you were talking about on July the 7th when we sat out on the beach. It was absolutely astoundingly beautiful. And so that's where this whole masterclass started, I believe, the idea for it. That's where the seed is.
You are correct. And thank
Yeah.
you for that wonderful introduction, Megan. And welcome to everybody who's here with us live. Susie, Ali, Aaron Zakoff. Hello, Aaron. Welcome. Maya, Margolin, and Ramona. And there are always dozens of people who watch the recording. So welcome to all of you who are watching this recording. Friday, Saturday next week, or whenever you're watching it. Thank you so much for joining with me and us tonight. And yes, the idea, actually, the day that Megan's talking about truly happened. It was one of those absolutely perfect summer days, July 7th, 75 degrees, no humidity, blue sky, cool in the evening, slept like a baby. And when I woke up, the next morning, I had this idea of a Midsummer Night's Dream. And of course, I thought of the Shakespeare play, which, as an English major back in college, I read many times and have seen the play many times. And it's an absolutely wonderful comedy, and it's kind of difficult to follow. There's many little twists and turns, and the romantic pairings of at least six different couples, and the king and queen of the fairies, and Robin Goodfellow, also known as Puck, and all these wonderful things. So, but for me, the idea became, well, what is the Midsummer Night's Dream of my body in general, and my digestive system in particular. And as I said in the flyer that went out, that dream is to function normally. But the words function normally don't quite convey what that means. Because if every cell of our body was functioning normally, we would be we, we would be blissfully happy. We would be incredibly healthy. We would be vibrant, enthusiastic. Every word that you can possibly think of to describe you or someone that you have you ever seen somebody who is truly so healthy? They're totally grounded at the same time, but they're just radiating vitality. They're radiating humanity. So that's really what I mean when I that's what functional nutrition is all about. It's yes, at the superficial level, it's about restoring normal functioning to every cell, every organ, every system of the body. But the result of that is not normal. The result of that is something truly extraordinary. And that's what I felt on July 7th. I know I also said in the flyer, all winter long, I'm imagining summer days like today, like we had on July 7th. And some of that's because living in New England, get a little cabin fever, get a little uh, seasonal affective disorder, you get a little less vitamin D in your system. And so you start to, I picture it's part of affirming something really positive, to look forward to these kind of summer days. But this particular day, July 7th, was particularly meaningful for me because I had the last couple of years, to be honest, I did not feel 100% healthy all the time. A couple winters ago, was exposed to some smoke in a small fire, and I breathed in some plastic, and I literally started coughing like the next day. I coughed for a month, and then I finally went to the doctor, had x-rays taken, and the doctor told me that he could see that I had had a collapsed lung. He said, it's better now. It's not totally 100% back to normal. But during that time, I mean, when your lungs are affected, it not only affects your breathing, but it affects the oxygen coming into your body. And so you don't feel vitality, you feel the opposite. You feel a lot of fatigue. And I had not really felt that level of fatigue in a very long time. And so it was annoying and frustrating, but at a certain point it was really disturbing because no matter what I did, I couldn't quite get back all the way to 100%. So I was doing a bunch of things, including nebulizing ASEA redox into my lungs, and that helped. And but it took time. It took time, more time than I usually have had to spend to kind of get my body back to this incredible place of feeling totally healthy. And so that happened on July 7th. And so I just wanted to share that little bit as context and to help everybody understand that when I'm talking about restoring normal functioning, it really is restoring a level of a level of functioning that results in a level of vitality and vibrancy. And I think most people don't really experience that enough, because we grew up in a system that taught us that the absence of disease symptoms is the definition of health. And that's not the definition of health. The absence of negative symptoms doesn't mean you're healthy, just means there's an absence of negative symptoms. True health is defined by vitality, flexibility, resiliency, a true joy for living, a true enthusiasm for life. So if you're not experiencing all those things on some kind of regular basis, then you're missing out because those things should be normal. Those qualities should be the effect of the total of our complementary habits. The reason why we hydrate, the reason why we choose certain food over other food, the reason why we take certain supplements, the reason why we go to bed early and get a good night's sleep and exercise. The reason we do all those things we do is not to experience life as the absence of disease symptoms. We do all those things to experience a true vitality that not only we can feel and experience, but that should be so evident in our body that if we were to get on a public transit bus, within a few minutes, people should be coming up to us saying, "Whoa, you look really healthy," or "You feel really healthy. Wow, what are you doing?" Okay, so there's my introduction for tonight. And I could go on and on, but I think I'll stop there. And because we wanted tonight to be primarily to give people an opportunity to have a longer Q&A session than we typically have. And since we can only do the Q&A with people who are here, once we've gone through everyone's questions, we will call it a night. And so we may end up, ending sooner than we usually do, but that's okay. We can all go out and enjoy Midsummer. Okay, Megan,
Um,
did anyone send in any questions? Go
we
ahead.
have one question, and there may not be many questions, Russell, because many of these people are very familiar with your work. So,
Okay.
but
Well,
I
I'll
will.
I'll share one or two other things, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be important to hear a little bit more from you. Anyway, we do have one question. The question is, I noticed in your book and other instructions you don't mention eggs much. I guess, is there a reason for that?
Yes, it was a complete oversight. Eggs. That's so interesting. Allison, thank you for asking that question. That question has come to me from at least five other people in the last few months, people who are reading the book and saying the same thing. Why come you aren't mentioning eggs? And I'm like, oh my gosh, complete accidental oversight. So eggs are a perfectly healthy food. And so you want to make sure the eggs are coming from healthy chickens. And so you want to make sure that chickens, the hens, are free range and antibiotic free and eating good food and happy little hens producing very healthy eggs. And then my general recommendation about eggs is no more than two at a time, unless you're some giant man or a woman who wants to have three eggs at a time. No more than two eggs at a time, two or three times per week. And the only preparation I would be cautious about is, fried eggs with too much oil or too much butter or too much something. But every other type of egg in an omelet, soft boiled, hard boiled, scrambled eggs, perfectly fine. Thank you for asking that question.
Well, Russell, maybe you could speak a little bit more about that, the vitality that you were talking about, the energy of vitality, the
Yeah,
attractive
so
energy
uh,
of vitality.
that's fine. Thank you, Megan. Thank you. So since that
We
experience
don't
I
have
had
any
on,
other questions right now, so I
yeah,
just
and
thought
that's
that
fine.
might
And
be
if
interesting.
if you think of any, if anyone thinks of anything, just send it in, and I'm going to tell you a little story here, and then we'll take a pause and see if there are any more questions. So on July 7th, I had one of these experiences where I felt 100% totally blissfully happy, alive, vital, resilient, exuberant, enthusiastic, all those things. And then I realized, well, shoot, it's been a while since I really felt this good. What's up with that, Russell? And so I've been thinking about this a lot, the last few weeks. And one of the things that came up for me was this amazing experience I had many, many years ago, back in 1976, at a poetry reading. And the poet was a man named Robert Bly, who lived in Minnesota, was a great, wonderful, great American poet. And in 1976, I had been suffering already for about 3 years with my own healing crisis. And many of you know this story, so I'm not going to tell the story of my colitis and ulcerative colitis. I'll just simply say that for 3 years, I had been pretty sick, and I had succeeded in finding part of the solution. And so I certainly was not extremely sick anymore, but I also wasn't 100% healthy. I was struggling to get to that place. I was struggling to learn things that would help my body recover fully from this terrible condition that I had experienced. So, anyway, I'm at this poetry reading, and the Robert Bly stood up in front of this group of about 100 people. And in a 3 hour performance, he never opened a book, not once. Every story he told, every poem he read, he recited from memory. He recited because he had learned these poems by heart, as we used to say. And I was blown away with that. I had literally never seen a performance like that. I had been to many poetry readings before, but everyone would read from a book. They'd stand up at a lectern and read from books. And that was enjoyable, but this was like on a whole other level of enjoyable. Anyway, at one point during the poetry reading, he recited this poem, and he didn't even give it a name. It might have flowed out of another poem, and then all of a sudden he starts saying these words, and I'm like completely transfixed. I'm completely transformed while I'm listening to this very short poem. So don't worry, it's not long. So I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to recite it from memory. And then I'm going to say one or two things about it, what it means to me. Not what I think it means, but what it means to me. And then I'm going to read it one more time. I'm going to recite it one more time. So here we go. I call the poem Inside This Clay Jug. And it goes like this. Inside this clay jug, there are canyons and pine mountains, and the maker of canyons and pine mountains. All seven oceans are inside, and hundreds of millions of stars. The acid that tests gold is there, and the one who judges jewels. And the music from the strings no one touches, and the source of all water. If you want the truth, I'll tell you the truth. Friend, listen. The God whom I love is inside. Now, when I heard that poem for the first time, I had this experience for the first time in my life, and certainly for the first time in my healing journey, that what the poem was describing was the vitality I was seeking was there inside my body. And I probably knew enough about physiology at that point that I had this idea of he was describing cells. It's like all this incredible stuff, the source of water and the man who judges jewels and pine mountains and a million stars. It's like the whole universe is inside my body. How is that possible? And it was this clear understanding that whatever the mystery of life is, whatever the miracle of life is, whatever the miracle of creation is, it's in my body. And when I'm truly healthy, I not only feel connected to that source of life, there's no separation between me and whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, God's love, creation, nature. And so the first time I heard it, it was like, oh my gosh, I just heard something really important, and it was specifically for me. It's like all the other people in the room, they weren't there. Like God was speaking directly to me through this man who I had never met before, knew very little about. But oh my gosh, that poem resonated with my heart and soul. And so I'm thinking to myself in that moment, oh my God, please read that poem again. Please, if there's any. And to my great fortune, he said, I'm going to read that poem again. So everything I just shared with you happened between the end of the first time he read it and the second time he read it. So of course I'm sitting now on the edge of my seat. And so I got to hear it a second time, as you will now get to hear it a second time. And it goes like this. Inside this clay jug, there are canyons and pine mountains. And the maker of canyons and pine mountains. All seven oceans are inside, and hundreds of millions of stars. The acid that tests gold is there, and the one who judges jewels, and the music from the strings no one touches, and the source of all water. If you want the truth, I will tell you the truth. Friend, listen. The God whom I love is inside. Now, when I heard that the second time, remember, I'm still unwell. I'm not feeling very well. So what I got in that moment was incredible hope. Momentarily, I felt 100% better. But mostly what I felt was, oh my gosh, there is a
Battery
way
100%.
for me to
Connected
heal.
to Aaron's iMac.
And 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 it's there inside to study that poem, and it's going to speak to me, and it's going to teach me how to heal my life, how to heal my body. Yes, I have to eat good food. Yes, I have to do all these things, but there was something else that was missing from my healing process that somehow was inside that poem. And it still is. To this day, it's one of the most meaningful, important moments of my life, but it's also one of the most significant poems. And here's what it means to me. And then I'll be quiet. I was raised a Roman Catholic. I was raised in the Roman Catholic Church.
Aaron's iMac. Disconnected.
And so,
Ready to connect.
Aaron,
and
Aaron,
no, hold on, Mick. Hold on.
I think his
Hold
audio.
on. Hold on.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
No worries. No worries. So as co-host, you should be able to do that.
I know.
But anyway, so it's okay. It's okay. So um, the two great commandments, if you will. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind. Love God with everything. And love your neighbor as yourself. One of the other things that came through to me was this whole notion, and it's in the prayer, our Lord's Prayer, thy will be done. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. But this idea that the purpose of life, if I am a Christian, the purpose of my life, if I'm a true spiritual person, is not to get lost in my ego, but to discover what God's will is for me and to manifest God's will for me in my life. And through that poem and through other experiences that I had, I simply understood that more than anything else, God's will for me was to be perfectly healthy. God's will for me was to learn how to restore my health. And at that time in my life, I didn't have any dreams or illusions or anticipations of helping other people. I was completely focused on healing myself. So I just wanted to, because it's an important phrase, thy will be done. And I know people go through incredible lengths, incredible effort in their life, in their own way, in their own spiritual life, to understand what God's will is and then to manifest that in the best way they know how. But what if God's will for each of us starts with restoring our physical health to the point where we can experience that incredible vitality, that incredible joy, that incredible happiness, that incredible flexibility? Don't you think, and I think this, because I've experienced that when you get to that place where you are 100% healthy, where you are feeling, not only are you not feeling or experiencing any negative symptoms, but you have this incredible sense of vitality, it will be a lot easier to understand or see or feel what other things God might have in store for you or God might want you to pursue. So it has never been a trivial thing. It has always been the most important thing in my own education, and it continues to be the most important thing in my educational outreach to others to help people understand that, this sentence, physical health is the foundation upon which we build the rest of our lives. It's not just a nice way to begin a lecture. It's very, it's, it's the truth. And the quality of our physical health it depends more than any other factor on the quality of the life of our cells. Cells are real things. And if our cells are healthy, just physically, if our cells are healthy, then we will be healthy. And it's just that simple and profound. And so I've dedicated most of my adult life to understanding how to restore that in my own body, in my own life, in my own health, and how to teach other people who can't, who have not yet been able to figure it out on their own, how to do that. And so, and even though I focus primarily in my practice on people who suffer from digestive system disorders, which is true, the same principles and the same practices apply to any negative condition that exists. Okay, I will stop there.
Well, Russell, you've created quite a space for us tonight. Thank you. Inside this clay jug are canyons and pine mountains.
And the
I don't
maker
know.
of canyons and pine mountains. Yeah,
Maker of, yes. Anyway, it's beautiful. Thank you.
thank you.
We do have another question here,
Great.
and it has to do with the current lettuce parasite. And the question is by following your program, do we have an extra layer of protection from something like this kind of parasite that exists now on the lettuce?
Short answer is yes. So the real answer is if a person has a really healthy microbiome, which is this amazing ecosystem of organisms that lives in our, what we call the digestive system, lives in our mouth, in our throat, in our stomach, 24 feet of small intestine, 5 to 6 feet of large intestine, thousands of trillions of single cell organisms, probiotic organisms, healthy bacteria make up that microbiome. If you consume some parasites on some lettuce, ain't gonna touch you. You're the So one of the things, so all those organisms, and we're not talking about millions or billions or even trillions, we're talking about thousands of trillions. Those healthy organisms have the ability to detect when a parasite has entered your system and immediately different groups of probiotics would literally produce an antibiotic or an anti-parasite chemical to kill the parasites. So again, the miracle of our body is that when it's really healthy, it has the capability of detecting problems and eliminating problems. So if it's a toxin or a bacteria or a parasite, it's going to not just uh, physically remove it, it's going to kill it very soon upon entry into the body. The body's not going to let it linger to create problems. So people who die from parasites either have a very compromised microbiome or they've had such a exposure, such an overexposure to the pathogen, whether it's a parasite or mold or something, that it's just too much. I mean, that is possible. So you could be perfectly healthy, but if you have an overexposure to some massive negative pathogen, then your body's going to try, but you may not survive that. But when we're talking about a small exposure, like parasites or other organisms through lettuce, we hear this all the time. There's some listeria virus or food poisoning, foodborne illnesses happen all the time. But they don't happen. We hear about the deaths. We hear about terrible uh, situations, but that's a small group out of the millions of people who might have been exposed to the pathogen. Okay, so the antidote to all these things is to be really healthy because your body has incredible resilience, and that's the first principle of functional medicine, as I understand it and teach it. The body wants to be healthy. The body knows how to be healthy. Every cell is genetically programmed to be healthy. The only question is, do you, as the owner of the body, know how to cooperate with those self-healing capabilities? Do you know how to optimize those self-healing capabilities? If you do, you're going to be very healthy. You're going to be very happy. You're going to be very resilient. You're not going to be coming down with any serious disease other than some bizarre, rare overexposure to a toxin. But in the general scheme of things, you're not going to get sick. And if you do get sick, you're going to be able to recover very quickly. I hope that is a good
Thank
answer.
you,
Good
Russell.
good perspective.
Yeah, very good. We don't have any more questions, but Allie has shared with us that she's very happy because she has nearby friends who have healthy, happy hens, and I'm sure she indulges in that for her egg.
Yes,
And
fabulous.
she also pays you quite a compliment, Russell. You are an astounding teacher. And I would agree with that. Even
Thank
though
you,
I've been
Allison.
listening to you for many, many, many years now, you still have there's always an element of surprise for me. I think, how, what? My goodness me. All right. Well, I think, Russell, shall we call it an evening and let everybody go out and play and um,
Yes, thank you again, everybody being here live, and thank you, everybody watching the recording. I
Thank you.
really enjoyed tonight. Yes, you can unmute yourselves now and say good night, say goodbye. Enjoy this
Bye, everybody.
midsummer evening.
It's
And as some of us learned, growing up, a song at the end of a TV show. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, keep smiling until then. Happy trails to you till we meet again. Now, who can tell me what TV show that came from?
I don't know.
I know.
Aaron,
Roy
you know.
Rogers. Wasn't it the Roy Rogers show, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Roy Rogers and Dale Evans.
And Dale Evans. Yes. And their horses were, what are their horses' names?
The horse's name was Trigger.
Trigger, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful
And
Palomino
Dale's
horse.
was Dale's Buttermilk?
Buttercup.
Dale's
Buttercup, I think.
Buttercup.
I could be wrong.
Okay.
Now I'm at the limit of my memory bank's TV trivia from the 50s and early 60s. But again, so thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it was
Have a
wonderful
wonderful
to see you,
evening.
Susie. Thanks.
Thank you, Susie, Marvin. Wonderful to see you.
Aaron.
Thank you,
Ramona.
Aaron and Ramona and Allison. And thank you,
Sweet
Megan,
dreams.
for those kind words.
Sweet dreams,
night.
everybody.
Russell, can I have a thought?